we are recording.
Welcome back, you guys. Welcome to our 8th episode.
The 8th one.
So, before we get into our topic today, I really wanted to talk about all of the new interactions we're getting on our YouTube channel. I'm kind of astounded.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've had a lot of new interactions, a lot of comments, and a lot of new subscribers. We're almost to 100 subscribers.
I wish I had that party noise.
I know. Woo! The little like thingies going like
yeah.
But we jumped from about 16 subscribers the day that we posted our last episode till today, and we have like almost 100. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's gonna be more on that on the Sunny Sesh, so stay tuned.
Yeah, we will be having one in the works soon. Stay tuned.
Absolutely.
How was your week, David?
My week has been pretty solid so far. Nothing too drastic, nothing too big. I found out that my college pays for college classes, and I thought they would pay for half of my graduate school. But they actually will be paying for 90% of it, basically. So that's exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's because I also work at the college, if that wasn't... if I didn't say that in any previous episodes or anything like that. But since I work there, they do have something called tuition remission, and that definitely helps pay for your college, which is super handy. But yeah, how was your week?
My week was not too bad. I took my last programming quiz yesterday, so I feel amazing. I feel good. Hopefully I will never have to do that again. It was awful. 10 out of 10 do not recommend. But
absolutely agree.
But besides that, it's going really good. It's getting towards the end of the semester. I'm getting closer to my graduation date, and I'm just ready to get my degree. Finally.
Right. But that's yeah, I definitely agree. So let's hop in. So on the topic of college, let's hop into our topic for today. Would you like to discuss that?
Before I jump into the topic really quick, I want to make a quick disclaimer that my neighbors will not stop mowing their lawn, and it's dark outside. So I'm so sorry if you hear anything in the background, but yeah, that's kind of what. Yeah, that's what I'm putting up with today. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So I feel like it's a very fitting time of year to talk about this topic since it's the end of the semester. People are about to go for their summer break. Some people aren't getting a break. Yours truly is included. Love that. But it's the end of the school year. People are graduating high school. Some people are graduating college. And I think it's a really good time to talk about finding your major and what that's like.
Absolutely. Yes. It's a great topic, and we have a lot in store for you today.
So, when I graduated high school in 2017, I didn't really have any idea what I wanted to do, but I knew for a fact I'm going to college. It's been drilled into my brain ever since I was a child that I needed to go to college and I needed to get a good degree and be successful. And not only hearing that from my parents, but everybody else in my life, I was like, I don't know what I want to do, but I just know that I have to do something in college.
Yeah. Same with me.
It's crazy thinking about it now, but in high school, I mean, I didn't really do very well in high school. I just was kind of there. I never went above and beyond. I just wanted to get in and get out, and I feel like that's what a majority of us do. You know, we're not trying to get straight A's, be valedictorian, all of that jazz, but we all kind of are just there.
Now, I couldn't relate. I mean, like, I hated high school, but I was there. I was like, I'm here. Might as well try. So I always shot for straight A's. Didn't always get them. I'd usually get like that one class where you'd get that B. It was kind of annoying, but...
This is why I think this is a good topic for us to talk about, because we have two completely different paths going on. And so I feel like depending on the type of person you are, you could definitely relate to either one of us.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, as I was saying, I didn't really do amazing in high school. I didn't really feel passionate about learning. I was just so ready to be done and turn 18 and be an adult and go do adult things and get a job. I just didn't really care during high school. And once I graduated, I kind of started taking that mentality into college. So in the fall of 2017 is when I started my first semester, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I had a good idea because my grandma was a nurse, my mom is a physical therapist assistant, my sister was going into school. At the time, she wasn't 100% set on what she's doing now, but she was doing stuff in the medical field, so I was like, I guess I'll just do that. I mean, that's what all of the women in my family are doing, my close family for the most part.
Okay, got you.
But I didn't really feel great. I was like, I don't want to do exactly what they're doing. So I thought something more fitting would be mortuary sciences. It's something that's kind of like fascinated me, like death itself and like the grieving process has kind of fascinated me. And I kind of wanted to stick with the medical field because that's kind of just what I've known. So I was like, this is a good path. So that's what I decided to take.
Okay.
What about you? What did you do?
So right after I had graduated high school, I joined the military, and I had planned on joining the military since my sophomore year of high school. We had one of the recruiters do a presentation in our class, and he did IT work. Yeah, I should have known. But yeah, he did IT work, and I was like, hey, that seems pretty cool, because I really didn't know anything about the military. And I was like, you just straight up go into IT right after. You don't need to go through the whole college process or any of that. You just go straight to the job. And so I got his business card, hung on to it till senior year, finally called him my senior year, and then got connected with the recruiters and stuff. And so long story short, I joined the military. It was the Navy, and learned that I absolutely hated it. And there was some other caveats with my contract being a lie and stuff. So I wound up being able to leave the military on a general discharge without completing my contract, which was nice. Mm-hmm. And after I'd gotten back home, I was like, what the hell do I do now? Mm-hmm. So it was in August 6th of 2016, I believe, is when I actually got home from boot camp. And
okay.
Yeah, and college, I had not even started applying. I had not even applied. I was like, dang, what do I do? And so I live in New Mexico, and I decided I was going to go to the University of New Mexico, UNM, and I started applying right as I got back and figured out that classes start on August 22nd. Now, keep in mind, again, I got back on August 6th.
Oh, jeez.
So I'd gotten back, and I was like, oh, dang, I gotta get it together. So I applied, I got accepted, got a new car so I could drive all the way there. It was like 25 miles to campus. Because my old car would not make it. It was held together with plastic screws. But yeah, it was pretty bad. And so went to college. I started out in computer science because I knew I wanted to do something with computery, and I didn't really do my research into it, sadly, which I will definitely expand more on here in a bit. But yeah, I wound up changing my major midway, and it's been a journey.
Mm-hmm. I had a very similar experience with just changing my major. I changed my major a lot, but I started taking these classes and started taking what you would call basics. So I was going to community college, and I think a lot of people can relate to this fact. They just don't really know what they want to do yet. So they're like, oh, I'm going to take my basics, which is just like English, some sort of math, some sort of history class, and then sometimes a science, I guess, or maybe an elective, but it really depends. So I kind of just started out doing that. And then I decided after I started taking those, I was going to keep trying for the mortuary sciences stuff. So
okay.
The community college I was going to didn't offer a program for mortuary sciences, but I was just hoping I could get some of these credits at the community college and then transfer somewhere that offered it just to save money. So I took my first anatomy class, and I completely failed. I failed. I did so bad. I don't even remember the grade I got. It was really so horrible. I just tried to erase it out
Ooh,
of my memory.
that's rough.
It was bad. I just didn't do very well with memorizing the different parts and how they work together. It was so awful. I hated it. I hated every second of that class. And then just my experiences in the class as a whole just weren't great. Every class that I had that was kind of geared towards like any sort of medical thing that would have like the nursing students in there, they're always so mean. Like you have like some of like the other students who are very nice that are like in the nursing course, but a majority of them are just so competitive and rude, and we're like the high school mean girls, and they're always so rude for no reason. And it was just the worst, and it made the experience worse because I
Oh
couldn't even
no.
do like group work because they were just so catty and mean about it. And they would like just expect me to do everything. It was awful.
That's terrible.
But yeah, so I just started doing some of these courses, and I didn't want to do mortuary sciences anymore. It's like, this is not something I'm really interested in. So I decided to delve more into sonography. And for those of you who don't know what sonography is, it's like people who do like the ultrasounds. That's like a sonographer.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Yeah. And the school I was going to had a program for this. So I was like, okay, I'll try talking to my academic advisor about this and changing my major and getting started in the course. And I walk in there and I talk to this academic advisor, and it was so horrible. Like, sorry, if I cry, I'm so sorry. It makes me so emotional because like this was probably one of the lowest moments in my life.
Ooh.
I just wasn't doing great in school, and so I went into this woman's office and I start talking to her, and I'm like so excited about this new major that I want to do, and this woman starts laughing in my face when I tell her that I want to do this sonography program. She laughs in my face and she tells me, "You think that you can get into this program? Look at your grades. Are you kidding me?"
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Why would any advisor ever do that?
Dude, oh, sorry, I'm getting emotional. And like it really hurt because it was like I was so excited to find something I thought I was passionate about.
Mhm.
And she literally just laughed in my face and was like, "The acceptance rate for this program is so low. There are people who have whole degrees who are going into this, and you think you can get into this program? Are you kidding me?" And
She
she's just like
said that?
laughing. She laughed me right out of the office. I was literally in tears. I wasn't crying, but they were like bubbling up in the corners of my eyes. She could
Ah,
tell I was about to cry. Did not care. She's just like,
that's
"Okay."
insane to me. She needs to be fired.
It was so awful. And I kind of have a history of being a doormat, so I didn't ever say anything because I didn't think anybody would care, but it was heartbreaking just going into the office and having her laugh in my face. It was awful. And
Yeah. Jeez.
after that, I already wasn't doing good mentally, and I dropped out of school. Sorry.
It's okay.
I dropped out of school, and I wasn't doing great. And so I started I worked at a prison for a little bit, and it was so bad, and I kind of regret dropping out of school. Like, that whole experience working at the prison was so bad, but it was a really low point in my life, and it sucked because I felt like I was so off track for what I wanted to do.
Right.
And I knew, like, I worked at the prison for like a month in, and I was like, this is not what I want to do. And I was just miserable for like the few months I worked after that. I was like, this is miserable. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. And so I just decided, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And so I took that one semester off, and I went back to school that summer. I was like, there's no way. And so I'm like, sorry, this is gonna like make me cry. Like, it just makes me so emotional.
Mhm.
My mom paid for me to go to my summer courses, and it was just so bad. It was just like such a low moment in my life. Sorry.
It's okay. Anyone who's in college will absolutely understand this.
It really sucked. It sucked just having to go back to my parents' house and be like, yeah, I have no accomplishments. I've been in college for like a year and a half and I'm not even anywhere close to getting a degree. So I just went home and she paid for my semester and I passed the class and I just jumped right into the fall semester in 2019 and I was like, I'm gonna go back to mortuary sciences and I'm gonna try doing that again. So I'm gonna give myself a minute to calm down. I want you to tell some more about your story.
Okay. Yeah, and I feel like this is honestly a really good reason to kind of pick your major carefully because college overall will not predict nor guarantee your future.
Yes.
Many people who graduate will also just get jobs that aren't even closely related to their major. And personally with me, when I started in computer science, I was like, hey, this has the word computer in it. This is what I want to do. And not knowing that it was just programming. I had never programmed a thing in my life beforehand. I did a tiny bit of HTML in 8th grade, but that was 8th grade. And so I started going through programming and I learned that I hated it. And I did 2 entire years of that.
Ugh.
And it was terrible. And so I switched my major halfway through getting a bachelor's degree. And I was like, I am so late doing this. I debated dropping out. Glad I didn't.
I'm glad you didn't either.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, I did my research into stuff that I was like, what do I want to do? Like, I want to do this computer stuff, but my college doesn't offer IT as a major.
Yeah.
So I learned that management information systems was the closest to IT you can get. It's basically a business degree with a concentration in everything that you could ever want to learn about hardware and computers, cybersecurity, all the fun stuff without the programming. Now, there was a few programming classes, but those weren't the worst. I had a background in programming, so it wasn't too terrible, but I wound up graduating with a degree in management information systems, which was great.
That's a bachelor's?
Got my bachelor's.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I feel like you need to do your research when choosing a major. Please do your research. Don't go and do a major and then find out you hate it midway.
Yes.
Some really good ways to do some research is to choose something that you feel will make you happy. As long as, like, of course, read about it first. Like, don't do what I did. Be like, oh, it has the word computers in it. That'll make me happy. Nah, definitely read what your major would entail if you pick one. Maybe even take a class or two in the subjects beforehand. And I mean, in the end, college can definitely, I think it's worth it to go to college because in the end, college can pay you back in more ways than just a salary.
Yeah.
It gives you knowledge.
Knowledge.
But yeah, it's always good. I came out of college with so much more mental preparedness for the world. It's just crazy to me how much I learned. But yeah, I mean, it's been a journey for sure, and I'm glad I picked what I picked. And it was a challenge because I had to fit 4 years worth of management classes into just 2, but I did it. I learned that I loved it, and I am now sitting here amongst you today.
So when you talk about doing your research, I know, especially for those of you who are kind of in the position that I was, or it can kind of seem like a lot, like, oh, I have to do all of this research, and there's so many degrees to choose from. What the hell is going on? And I think it sounds like a lot, but I promise once you find something that you even somewhat enjoy, the more you kind of do digging into the topic, you'll realize that you actually enjoy it a lot more than you would think.
Exactly. And if you pick a subject you love, you will more likely be engaged in that class, and you'll be more likely to talk and raise your hand and ask questions and everything. And if you love more than one thing, you can double major if you're into that, or you can choose a major and a minor, right? If you major to get your bachelor's degree in something, and then you can minor and get your minor in something. And we all know that there's different majors that would be classified as more useful or not. Like everyone always
Yeah.
stigmatizes art degrees because
Yes.
everyone says, oh, those are useless. It's all about the experience. And there is some truth to that, but it's not always completely true.
That's one of the biggest things that hurt me, I think, in going to school, because for those of you who don't know, I do almost all of the art on the channel. Like I draw like the album art, and I draw our little faces and stuff, while David like edits and he puts together the thumbnails and stuff. But I do like the individual art pieces, if that makes sense. So like I've always been really passionate about art, but when I was about 14, I told my dad that I wanted to go into art, and he's like, "You can't do that. Have you ever heard of a starving artist?" And I was like, "No, what's that?" And then it just like, my heart was like,
Oh
I was like,
no.
"No." And I mean, I know that he wasn't doing it out of like a place of like ill intent. Like he literally just genuinely wants me to do well, but it was just like, damn, I really like art.
Right, right. And same thing here. I'll do a lot of the graphic design and I guess more of the animation style and a lot of the
Yeah.
editing for this channel. And I didn't want to major in that because I already had a ton of experience. And I mean, I'd love to do it as a job, but I think in the end, if I did it as a 9 to 5 thing, I would really grow tired of it. And if I
Yes.
majored in it, then I would have just wasted a bunch of money and time.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can't really decide your major, you can explore your passions and interests first. And even when you start college, if you do choose to do so, you don't even
Mm-hmm.
need to declare a major right away. Most colleges can make you, like, you can wait. You can wait all the way up to
Yeah.
your sophomore year to decide and just knock out the basic core classes, English, math, some electives. It's pretty simple. I mean, just explore everything you can while you're doing it, and you will
Mm-hmm.
wind up finding what you want to do and you won't waste your time and money.
Mm-hmm. So I think I'm ready to talk about the rest of my experience in choosing my degree. So to pick up where we last left off, which was fall of 2019, I decided I'm going to go back to school for mortuary sciences. I'm going to get my basics that I didn't do when I dropped out before, and I'm going to continue to try to do this. So I really had to knock out that anatomy and physiology class.
Mhm.
This would be my third time taking it. I took one in high school that I don't even know like how I passed. Like I think she legitimately just passed me because I was a senior in high school, and yeah, I legitimately don't think I genuinely passed.
Wow.
But yeah. I think it also has to do with the fact she was pregnant that year and we had a lot of subs, so
Oh, got you. A
yeah.
lot of
But
leniency in there.
yeah. So that would be the first time. The second time I completely dropped out of the class, failed it. So this would be my third time taking it. So
Ooh.
this teacher was like very strict. You had to be on class on time. You couldn't miss more than 2 days or else she was going to fail you for the whole course. It was tough,
I
but
hated those teachers.
the she would get really mad if you were late. Like this woman, I don't think she's like bad or anything. She's just like very strict. I'm sure she gets a lot of people who come in and like fail. So I'm sure she's used to people not committing fully to it.
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people in the class were like nursing majors and they were already like set on what they're doing. And so I started taking this class and I was quickly falling down the same rabbit hole that I was before. I hated the class. I was doing so bad. I would study for hours and I was doing horrible. Like nothing I was doing would work. Like I would sit there for hours, try to study, nothing was sticking. The worst was when we had to do our tests. What she would do is she would set up the classroom with all the different parts and stuff like that, and we had, I think it was 30 seconds, and we'd have to shift around the classroom from like seat to seat and write down what the part was and answer the questions that would pertain to what it was. It was so horrible. I would sit there for 30 seconds and just not know what to write, so I would just write something random
Oh
or like half it would
no.
be blank. It was that bad, and so I was getting super depressed, and so I knew, I'm like, I can't afford to fail another class or I will be kicked out of school. Like I can't fail again. My GPA was like super low. So one day I decided, right around the time where we had to drop classes, I was like, I need to withdraw from this class. I literally cannot keep taking this class. And so, sorry, I'm gonna cry again. This episode's emotional for me. I'm
It's
sorry.
okay. Yeah, no, we're all here for you.
But it was after class, and I had a little paper that the academic advisor gave me, because of course they make it the most humiliating method possible. They make the teacher sign the paper.
Right.
And so you have to get like the balls to go up to the teacher and ask them to drop you from the course. And so I'm a very shy person, so I hate confrontation. I hate like talking to the teacher, which sounds stupid, but I was so nervous because I didn't really understand anything, and I just didn't want to ask the teacher stupid questions and waste her time. So I never really talked to her. So it was after class and everybody left the classroom. I went up to her and I was like, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" And I literally asked her exactly like that. Like my voice is cracking. She's like,
no.
She's like, what do you want to ask me? And I looked at her and oh my god, I probably looked like someone just killed a puppy right in front of me, dude. I was like,
oh no.
Oh, the tears were coming, and they were coming hard. So I was like, I'm just not really doing great in the class, and I need to withdraw. Like, I can't keep going to this class, and I just don't think that I can do this degree anymore. And I'm like, I'm not interested in it. And it's just like, I've tried so hard, and it just, something is not working. And so, she like shut her door really quick so nobody would come in, and she's like, oh my, she's like, sit down. And I was like, okay. So I'm like sitting here, like crying in front of this woman that I've like literally never talked to before.
Oh no.
It was kind of humiliating, but she really made me feel comfortable, which I really appreciate. But she's like, you never have to be like ashamed to like ask for what you want. She's like, if that's what you want, I'll do it. You don't have to be upset to ask for what you want. And something just like clicked in that moment, and I was like, damn, like this whole time I've just really been doing this degree that I never wanted to do because I just never thought for myself what I wanted to do. I just thought because of like what my sister did and what my mom did and what everybody else around me was doing, just like going to school, just knowing what they wanted to do, I thought that's just like what I should do too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I never thought to really question it. So sorry, I'm probably so hard to understand right now.
It's getting me choked up too, honestly.
I'm sorry.
Got that frog in my throat kind of thing.
I never really thought about what I wanted to do. So it really just hit me so hard. And I just kept crying, and she's like, it's fine, like I'll just sign it right now. And she's like, just sit down for a little bit and relax. She's like, I don't want you to go out there crying because I know how that is. And I'm like, oh. And it was just, it just makes me so emotional because, as I said, I've like never talked to this woman before.
Right.
And she was just like giving me that like common decency that I wasn't even really giving myself, if that makes sense. Like I wasn't even like being kind to myself, and I was stressing myself out, and she was just like comforting me when I'm at like my lowest point. And sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Ugh. It really hit different, and it really changed my perspective on a lot of things.
It's crazy how one person can have such a big impact, and someone that you may never even have met before.
I know, this woman probably doesn't even know who I am. She probably doesn't even remember my name, and that's fine. She's like, that one just started crying. But I don't know, like, it legitimately like changed my life. Like, not kidding. So I walked out of there, and I was like, I need to figure out what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. I'm like, I can't keep living like this, and I can't keep letting myself be so depressed and just be so, like, drained by what I'm doing and what I'm
Right.
involving myself in, and I wasn't living, like, a healthy lifestyle, and like, I was literally letting my mental health get so bad, and so I just, like, I changed everything, and I went home, and I was like, what? What do I even want to do? And so I sat there for a little bit, and I was like, what have I always wanted to try? Because I was like, I'm doing stuff that I think is, like, quote unquote comfortable. I'm doing stuff that I've always just never even thought 2 seconds of, like,
Right.
oh, this is what people do. I should just go do this.
Right.
So it's like, I've always wanted to learn about computers. Like, it sounds so stupid, but, like, anytime people would talk about, like, computer jargon around me, I'm like, I wish I understood that. So I was like, maybe I could do something like this. So I have 2 different family members who are in, like, the tech field. I don't want to say exactly what they do, but
Right.
because they would definitely appreciate if I did not. But one of them was talking to me about cybersecurity, and I was like, what the hell is that? I was like, what is that? Like, hackers? Like,
Right,
I didn't
right.
know it. I didn't know anything. I was just, like, ignorant to what it was. And so I sat down and I had a meeting with them, and I decided, I'm like, that's what I'm gonna do. I'll just try it. Why not? And I took my first semester and I loved it. Like, I genuinely loved doing it, and I got a 4.0 2 semesters in a row, and that was a first for me. Like,
Wow. That's awesome.
it was crazy. I literally I'm just crying this whole episode. I'm sorry. Like, it was like just seeing myself go from, like, literally being on academic probation to getting, like, 4.0s and having people try to invite me to their weird sorority things through the email. I was like, damn. And, like, getting the emails about being on the, like, the dean's list or whatever. I was like, what the hell? It was just,
Yeah.
it was crazy to me. And it was such, like,
It's like a surreal feeling.
it felt crazy because this whole time I'd been doing stuff that I didn't even like, and I just thought that's how it was going to be for my whole life. And then I started doing my degree now, and I was like, wow, like, I'm doing really good, and I really love it.
That's awesome.
Ugh.
Yeah, I could definitely kind of relate on your journey. Like my first 2 years of college, when I was programming, I would study maybe 8 hours a day while still working a part-time job on the weekends. So I would go to school 5 days a week, work on weekends. So I never had a day off, and the stress was really getting to me, and I feel like that really contributed to the balding that I'm experiencing.
Oh, stop. You are not balding.
I definitely am, for sure.
You need to change your contacts.
Ah, man, but yeah, it was terrible. And so after I'd switched my major, and I felt a lot happier, felt like there was a huge relief off my shoulders, and then I quit my job and got a different job that I absolutely loved, and I was like instantly happier. And so, and it all came to just making that step, and like you said, just kind of doing, like finding what you want to do for yourself instead of just putting up with what the situation you're in. Like, go make yourself happy, do what you want to do. But I'd say my biggest advice when it comes to college is to just not to give up. Just please don't give up. It will be worth it in the end, because if I just gave up college, then I would have had paid so much money for nothing, for just a shitty experience. And I'm very grateful I went through it. And I mean, like how Alexxa and I did, you can change your major as you go. There's nothing wrong with that. Many people do. And if you never even start college and you still want to figure out what you're trying to do, you can go and get certifications for things before you even decide to major for stuff. It's a lot cheaper, and you can find out if you want to go in that field. It's really important, and I would recommend to just, again, never give up. It's worth it in the end to not give up.
Exactly. Like, that was the biggest thing for me, is just, there was one point I was taking a math class for my I was taking a math class that one semester I dropped out, like right before I dropped out. I stopped showing up to the math class. I hated it so much and I didn't understand any of the concepts. And this is like so crazy to think about looking back on this, but I was doing so bad mentally. I literally gave up and I stopped showing up to the class and I failed that math class. And then I went back the beginning of 2020 is when I had to retake that class. I passed that class with an A+. I went from like literally failing that class to like getting it with an A+. It was insane.
That's awesome.
And I and the fact was is like I sat there and I was listening to this. I was like, damn, I kind of enjoy this a little bit. And I had always hated math, but this specific math I really enjoyed. It was weird. Wow. It just felt really weird.
Yeah, that's cool. And kind of circling back on that, back when I was in high school, I was almost a straight A student just because I was like, I'm here, might as well try. Didn't like it.
Yeah.
And so I took that mentality into college, and I was like, my first semester I did great. I had almost all straight A's. I got a B in one class. And during computer science, my grades exponentially dropped throughout the first 2 years because it got to the point where I was just, if I got a C, I was so happy because there was a lot of things I was failing. And then again, when I decided to switch my major, I tried to get back to that mentality of like, okay, let's get A's, let's do good. And I graduated in MIS with a 4.0. Wow. Of course, my computer science dragged down the GPA overall, but in MIS, Management Information Systems, I did get a 4.0, and I was really happy about that. And of course, the grading scale is out of 4.0. I know some colleges graded out of 4.5 sometimes, which is kind of weird, but I think both of us are out of a 4.0 scale. So yeah, I got a 4.0 out of 4.0, which was awesome. And another thing about deciding your majors is what type of degree you want to go for. If you want to go for an associate's, bachelor's, master's, or even a PhD, all of these have different weights. Now, associates is kind of considered the baseline level. Like you learned your basics about this. Here's a degree for it. Great. Now that's...
Wow, thanks, King. That's what I'm getting. Rude.
Well, I mean, that's in society's eyes, that's more of what it's kind of defined as. And
yeah,
an associate's is more considered a minor than it is a major, whereas a bachelor's and up is considered a major. And so a bachelor's is considered you have an expertise in this specific field. And you could definitely go for that and stay at that and do great. Same with associates. I know people who have an associate's in computer science and make over $100,000 a year right now, which is pretty good. And you could also go for a master's. Now, a master's is basically the highest level of expertise without going into the PhD level, because PhD and master's has a very big societal difference. Now, master's is more for stuff you would go into the job field for and be considered a master at it. That's why it's called a master's. Your PhD, if you get your PhD and do your what they would call dissertation or research, you would go more into either teaching or just straight up research. To me, I don't want to go with my PhD because I want to go more into the field of work, and I don't want to waste my time doing all this, my dissertations and research into my PhD. Now, of course, if you have your PhD and still want to go into the field, you could, and you would be considered over the person who has their master's, but it's still just, it's not what you typically see. You can make more money going into teaching and research.
And you're getting your master's degree, right?
Yes, I have just signed up for my master's course. Graduate school was a pain to apply for, but I did it, and I'm starting this fall, this August of 2021, and I'm excited for it. I'm a little freaked out because going through my whole bachelor's was an emotional mess and roller coaster, but I think I can do it, and I will say again, I'm pretty sure it's going to be worth it in the end.
I'm sure it will be. And you're going for what?
I'm going for cybersecurity in my master's. So I'll have two majors. I will have my bachelor's in business administration with a concentration in information systems, huge mouthful. And then I'll have my master's in It's technically going to be a master's in business administration with a concentration in cybersecurity, but most of the classes, well, really all of the classes are computer based. So
Yeah. So I do want to mention one thing before we kind of wrap up our topic today. I think it's really important to take everything at your own pace, because I've been going to school since 2017 and it is now 2021 and I still have nothing to show for it. And I mean, I'm taking my time. I went through a lot of ups and downs, and there are people around me who are about to graduate with their bachelor's degree, and some people who have already graduated with their associates, and I'm still here. And I used to kind of look at others and just compare myself and think, like, why don't I have my degree? Like, I should be better. And it's really important just to not do that.
Yes.
Because everybody kind of figures things out at different paces, and everybody can handle different workloads. And I think that it's really important to kind of just focus on your own journey, because if you just keep comparing yourself to other people, it makes things way harder on you emotionally. And it's just not really fair to yourself
exactly.
to do that.
Always compare yourself against yourself. See where you were and then see where you are now.
Exactly. Like I was saying earlier, I went from being on academic probation to getting 4.0s like 2 semesters in a row. Won't get it this semester because programming, but that's just how it is. Computer science is hard.
It's terrible. It's very hard. And even my coworker, he's taking 7 years to get his bachelor's degree. He's just going to college part-time. So yeah, take it at your own pace. Do it at the speed you want to and the speed that you feel you're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm. Also, if you decide that you don't really know what you want to do, I don't recommend going to a huge university to start out with, unless you are 100% set on what you're doing, because it just costs a lot of money. And I think community colleges can definitely be a better option just to kind of get a good feel for what you want to do.
Especially knocking out the basics.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that just about wraps up the topic for today. Did you want to move on to the segment?
Yes, I'm sorry. That was such an emotional roller coaster, but I think it was something that I really wanted to get off my chest and talk about. And I feel if this can just reach like even one person who is just kind of questioning things like I was, I will be happy.
Yes.
I will be happy that I can help them and know that they're not alone.
Yeah, no, most people in college are never alone. I've seen people cry in the corner in the library, and I just want to go over and hug them because it's like, oh, it gets better. It does.
It really does.
Yeah. Let's move on to the segment. So our topic for today is kind of relevant to college even, but it's kind of in a different way. But, I mean, you could relate it to college, but I guess for this segment, we're not going to. So it reads, how do I save money? I always spend way too much and can't seem to control myself. I think this is a great topic.
Okay. Was that the whole question?
That's the whole question.
Wow. Okay. They got straight to the point.
Exactly.
So I can definitely relate to this because I have a mental illness that kind of causes me to want to spend money a lot. And what the cycle of that is that I'll buy a bunch of stuff and then I'm like, oh no, I shouldn't have done that. And so I like return it. And then it's just a cycle. So I've really taught myself to just not do that anymore because I don't want my mental health condition to kind of like control my life like that. So one thing that I can recommend just to start out with is if you're shopping and you see something that makes your brain go, ooh, I really want that. I know it's a lot of money and I really want that. Give it like a week or two. And if you don't even remember, then you don't have to get it.
That's a solid plan.
Because chances are you're just wanting it because it's like, ooh, stuff. So give it like 2 weeks. And if it's still on your brain and it's something you still want, then get it. Because it's obviously something you want and it's not like an impulse.
Right.
So I think starting out there is definitely a good route to go down. It'll save you a lot of money. Trust me.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I personally can't quite relate with having spent too much money and can't control myself because I've always kind of been one of those people that it's like, oh, I don't want to spend money because I will have none left. So, I mean, personally, the way I save money now, because I don't really have that mentality anymore, but I don't have that mentality of wanting to spend every cent I have. Um, I think there is definitely an importance in saving your money. I know some
Uh-huh.
people are like how the comedian Louis C.K. said. He said like saving money is useless. It's like holding in a breath and saying, I don't want to let this go. I've worked too hard for it. Uh,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can see that, but it's definitely important to save money because you have to save for your future or any emergencies that might happen. And the way I save
Mm-hmm.
money personally is just by creating a budget for myself, saying like, okay, I want to
Mm-hmm.
spend this amount, but can I afford this amount? And if I
Mm-hmm.
can, I will create that budget for myself, take that piece of money and just be like, okay, this is all I can spend and no more. And
Uh-huh.
so that's worked out for me a lot. And yeah, I feel like that's pretty effective.
Okay. So there is one thing I want to say really quick is that I don't think anybody wants to spend money. They don't want to be like, oh yeah, I just want to not save 1 cent.
Oh, for
I
sure.
don't. I just want to clarify that because that's not really the issue. I don't think. I think it's the fact that they just can't control themselves. And I understand that feeling.
Right.
Because
Okay.
I don't know one person who's just like, I don't want to save money at all and I just want to spend all my money. So I think it's probably best to like stay away from that because I personally get that. I get that it's not something you want to do and it makes you feel guilty. And obviously this person is feeling very guilty about spending their money. They don't want to spend their money. So
Right.
but I think budgeting is very good. You have what, an Excel spreadsheet?
I do. I actually keep track of every single thing I spend and I type it in my when I took accounting
Mm-hmm.
classes in college, I put in my debits and credits. Debits being the money you make, credits being the money you spend. And then of course
Uh-huh.
I like add everything. It shows the total spent. It'll show if I've made or lost money throughout that month and I have it on
Mm-hmm.
a per month basis. Like each month is separated.
Okay. Um, I also have something very similar. It's called Ynab. It's an abbreviation for you need a budget. If you're a college student, I think you get a year free, I
Oh
think.
wow, that's handy.
Yeah, it really is. So if that's something you want to try, you can definitely give that a shot. And I think even for the average person, they give you 30 days free to try it. So even if you're not a college student, you can try it. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to use it. But there is a fee that you can pay every month or you can pay annually. But there's also other apps out there where you can budget your money as well.
Oh yeah,
But
absolutely.
if you this is something I've seen a lot lately. If you just have a hankering and you want to buy something, I've seen people just go to the dollar store, which can be really handy. Just give yourself a budget of like $10 and then go in there and spend $10 worth of stuff.
And no more.
Then you won't really feel exactly, and you won't really feel guilty about spending like $10.
Yeah, because then you'll have 10 new items instead of one item that costs, say, 100.
Exactly. I think that's probably a really good method to try. I've never personally tried it, but if that's something you just have a hankering for and you really just want to go buy something, try the dollar store because it can really save you money. And
Absolutely.
another thing, this is something I've recently got into. Try couponing. You can get
Yeah.
some like free stuff. You can get some good stuff from the Dollar General. Like they have this one coupon for $2 off of Downy this week. And so you can buy a $1 thing of Downy and then you can pick out $1 thing and it'll just discount the whole thing. And you might have to pay tax, which will be like 8 cents depending on where you are. But you're basically getting it for free and you can just coupon. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
just me, but
My mom coupons a lot, and my dad, he's like, I don't know how you do that. Because, yeah. I definitely respect my mom. I don't think I would have the patience to coupon to the extent that she does.
my sister put me on it. Thanks. But I really actually like it. I'm not like an extreme couponer, I don't think by any means, but I have a plan to where if I get coupons for stuff that I won't use, I'll either donate them to the place where my sister works. She works with like old people who don't really necessarily have the funds to purchase new things, so I'll just donate them to her, or I can donate them to a shelter near me or like a woman's shelter, just
Right.
depending on what the items are. So that's also a good thing to try if you want to try couponing. And because I think it's like the feeling of just getting stuff. So if you just spend all this time trying to like coupon And then like getting these things, you can just donate them or you can use them and you're not even spending all that money.
That's awesome. I like that.
But yeah, if you guys have any advice that you want to get from us, please go ahead and go to our Canva link and then click the submissions link and fill out our submission thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, link will be in the description. Also, remember to like, subscribe, or dislike if you want. That still gets us some interaction. If you didn't like the episode, please dislike. And I mean,
leave a nasty comment.
Yeah, it definitely.
Calling us stinky.
Yeah, call us stinky. It lets us know if we're doing bad or good, you know?
You guys can be our little stinkers.
Like that idea. I like it. But yeah, guys, thank you for joining in, and we will see you next time. And remember, stay sunny.
Stay sunny.